mynews.studio.
If you stepped into an Indonesian kitchen 20 years ago, you'd likely find thick smoke from open flames. Now, most families cook with clean stoves. That change has transformed millions of lives. But the question is, what comes next?
Today's date is 2026-02-28. Indonesia has quietly accomplished something remarkable. Over 90% of people now cook with clean fuels. Just 20 years earlier, that number was under 10%. What led to such a dramatic turnaround?
The turning point was the 2007 kerosene to LPG conversion program. The government distributed over 50 million LPG stoves. This was more than a hardware swap. It was a major public health intervention. Indoor air pollution is a leading cause of respiratory illness, especially for women and children. Reducing that can literally save lives. But reaching remote areas, like some villages in Papua, was a huge challenge. How did they manage that logistical hurdle?
That's an important point. By 2020, Indonesia had set up a targeted distribution system. Subsidies and stoves went first to the most vulnerable, not just to city dwellers. They invested in infrastructure and rolled out the program district by district, starting with areas that had the least access. But what about the private sector? How did they fit into all this?
Private companies actually played a big part. The government partnered with producers, wholesalers, and retailers. These were called market aggregators. They managed logistics and sales in the pilot regions. There were strict quality standards for subsidized stoves, so private companies had a real incentive to join in. Plus, when subsidies were combined with limits on kerosene, it discouraged people from going back to older fuels even when things got tough.
But were people really willing to change? Sometimes, even if technology is available, people stick to what they know.
That's where research on social and cultural factors made a difference. Leaders like Yusuf Kala set ambitious targets, but they also listened to local communities. Stove designs were revised based on feedback from families, and market pilots worked directly with residents. Those aggregators didn't just deliver stoves, they created demand and collected feedback to improve the products.
So, it wasn't just about policy or technology. Human behavior was central. Other countries have struggled to scale up clean cooking. What should they learn from Indonesia?
A few lessons stand out. First, combining subsidies for clean fuels with restrictions on dirty ones is key, especially where people may hesitate to pay or try new technology. Second, integrating cultural data into product design is essential. You can't assume a solution will work everywhere. Involving the private sector through incentives helps keep the program running beyond the initial rollout.
But there's a trade-off. Indonesia has become more reliant on imported LPG, growing from 54% to 75% in just 8 years. That's a vulnerability. Is there a backup plan for the future?
The government is exploring induction cooking. Electrification could lower subsidy costs and improve energy security, especially if more of the grid uses renewables. The 2023 Just Energy Transition Partnership is already pushing coal retirements and emissions cuts. The World Bank is supporting multiple strategies, subsidies for different clean stoves, expanding gas networks to 5 million households by next year, and aiming for universal access by 2030.
So, it's not just about distributing stoves. The whole energy system behind them matters. As countries work toward the Sustainable Development Goals, can Indonesia's model be applied elsewhere?
Indoor air pollution still kills millions worldwide, mostly in the global south. Indonesia's approach, blending public health, environmental policy, and gender equity, offers a kind of blueprint. But it isn't universal. The real takeaway is to adapt core strategies to fit local needs. Targeted subsidies, limits on dirty fuels, private sector involvement, and community feedback.
What about on a personal level? Are there examples of how lives have changed?
In rural areas, women spend less time gathering firewood, kids breathe cleaner air, and families save money on medical bills. The change isn't just about technology, it's about health, opportunity, and dignity.
So, to wrap up, Indonesia's clean cooking revolution is about more than new stoves. It's about smart policy, partnerships, and putting people at the heart of energy transitions.
And as other countries look for ways to improve health and meet climate goals, Indonesia's lessons are both timely and practical.
Thanks for joining us as we explored Indonesia's clean cooking revolution and what it could mean for the rest of the world.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try now for free.